That's a damn good question, ain't it? That's a damn good question, drinker. That's a damn good question, ain't it, Disney? So what you gonna do now? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Say something. Come on, say something. Say something. Come on, say something. Huh? Because we've been telling you for years. I say this all the time. We've been telling you for years, 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 and years, and years to stop what you're doing. Because I'm about to ruin the images and style that you used to. I look funny, but y'all making money. Sorry. It's getting into the Humpty Dance. We told you that you were going to ruin your brand. We told you that you were going to ruin your reputation. We told you that you would drive so many people far away that they wouldn't want to come back. Similar to what happened with the WWE when Vince McMahon kept pushing John Cena down each other's throats. You were pushing all types of woke politics down people's throats, and people left. He was pushing John Cena down everybody's throats, and people left, including myself. I left around, I don't know, whatever year it was where they were pushing Roman Reigns and people were booing him out of the building. I left a little before I think he left because he had leukemia again or whatever they were saying. A lot of people think that was a work. I don't know whether it was or not, but it was an excellent work to get people behind you when you come back. The point is, I left around that time. So what year was that? What was it, 2013, 2014, 2015? What year was that? That's when I left. I just now have returned to watching wrestling. Just now. Okay? Now. Okay, so that's 10 or more years that I've been gone. Okay? There was no guarantee that I was going to come back because I didn't want to. But every so often something would come up. The Rock would come back. The Rock is what really got me back. Okay? And you guys better hope that your Rock, which is RDJ, can get people back. You better hope. Because your box offices are showing what happened. That we were telling the truth, that we were right all along. And all the people that attacked us were wrong. And they were stupid for attacking us because we told the truth. Every single movie that I've ever had a problem with from Disney, I believe has failed. I would have to go through a list, but I think every single movie that I had a problem with has failed or had massive controversy surrounding it to the point where the fans hated it or were split. The only one I can think of is that was supposedly a success was Captain Marvel. But I talked to people in Hollywood when the rumor was going around that Disney actually bought up a bunch of seats in theaters to make it look like it was a success. And I was told that studios do it all the time to make it look like their movie did better than what it did. And at that time, they definitely had the money to coast off of and to do that. But everything else after that I had a problem with underperformed, just as I thought it would. So let's see what the drinker has to say, because I know I know he probably gonna be pointing the finger too, like I told y'all so, and he gonna be running down the reasons why he's asking the question. So what now? Because I can't think of nothing that they can do to bring people back, other than RDJ, which I don't think is going. It might not work. They should have showed his face in Fantastic Four. They should have shown his face He should have walked in or something. They should have shot it differently to test the waters to see if him alone, or majorly at least, could get people back in the theaters. People are claiming it was him at the end, but it doesn't matter. It didn't show his face. Didn't even hear his voice. So you still hire me as a consultant, Disney. You can still hire me as a consultant if you want. It's going to cost you.
Said before that 2025 was going to go down as the make or break year, not just for Marvel
and it's a
DC,
break,
but for superhero movies in general. The MCU desperately needed to get back on track after years of embarrassing flops and underperformers, while James Gunn had the challenge of rebooting and relaunching the entire DC universe on film. On the Marvel front, things didn't get off to a great start, that's for sure. Brave New World turned out to be a bloated, chopped up, embarrassing mess that flopped harder than a fat influencer on a high diving board. Thunderbolts got a slightly better reception from fans, although knows why, but still failed to make any impact at the box office.
Damn
that
right.
left Fantastic Four to redeem a pretty disastrous year for the franchise. And well...
And every single one of them continued to check boxes, okay? Some felt more woke than others, but they all continued to check boxes. And Disney, you're like the boy that cried wolf now. You've been telling us, oh, Marvel's back. Oh, Marvel's back. Oh, we're going to stop doing what we don't. And everyone knows. You know, you've been saying other stuff was the reason why your movies failed. We all know the reason why your movies failed. But you've been saying you were going to stop doing it, and you haven't stopped. So you're the boy that cried wolf now. No one believes you anymore. And now that the wolves is coming around, it's eating your box office, leaving no money for you.
Fantastic Four is a flop, just like all the other Marvel movies that have come out this year. Which was interesting, because it was actually pretty well received by fans and critics.
Yeah.
Damn man, even I enjoyed it and gave it a half-decent review. It had a reasonably good opening weekend and solid word of mouth, so why did it fall off harder than Rachel Zegler's career? Well, dear viewer, Dr. Drinker is here with a big old batch of truth pill.
Think about that. With all the influencers, whether shill or not shill, that actually like this, that have millions, maybe even billions combined, I don't know, of fans all together out of all of us, who knows? Probably not billions, maybe a few million, you know what I mean? But with all that word of mouth from us to them, and then them speaking to maybe their friends or family, that didn't even help you. That shows you over these years what your movies have done to your reputation. People don't even believe the word of mouth anymore enough, or aren't even motivated enough by the word of mouth to want to spend the money on your movie.
They're gonna be bitter and hard to swallow, but just like I tell Tatiana, you'd better swallow them and keep them down, or it's another 3 days in the hole for you. So, you're gonna edit that out later, right? Okay, cool. Anyway, I think the failure of Fantastic Four has been pretty useful in some ways, because it's dispelled a few myths that people have been clinging onto for way too long now. Myth number 1 is that Marvel is ever going to come back. That all it'll take is the right movie at the right time to catapult the franchise back to the glory days of the 2010s.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
Well, here's a reality check.
I love that clip.
That is never gonna happen. Yeah, they might still get the occasional hit, and they'll always have a core fan base they can...
Yeah, we'll say it's gonna have to be stuff like Deadpool and Wolverine, or some Spider-Man stuff.
Rely on, but the days of billion-dollar movies being practically normal are long gone, and they're not coming back.
You're damn right, son.
is rapidly becoming the number that most people are talking about, which would be fine if movie
How
100
much?
million is rapidly normal or long gone, and they're not coming
500
back.
million? Is that what you're saying?
500 million is rapidly becoming the number that most people are talking about, which would be fine if movie budgets actually reflected that reality, but with $200 or even $300 million on production alone still being standard practice, well, the numbers just don't add up, and no amount of positive spin is going to change that. So why the hell did this happen? Well, partly because Marvel is a damaged brand by now.
Yeah.
Their fan base has gradually been
Absolutely
driven away by
damaged.
half a decade of mediocre movies and shitty TV shows, preachy and...
And the parallel to this is the WWE, like I've been saying. And at the time, people were saying that Vince McMahon was out of touch, that he was out of his mind and out of touch. He's a man that brought so much great entertainment to that brand. But over time, something happened. Don't know what it is, but he was out of touch. You're out of touch, Disney. Get it right.
Divisive identity politics, formulaic storytelling, dated humour, and sheer media oversaturation. They got too successful, too complacent, and too lazy, and they fell into the trap of thinking that they could just keep expanding.
But I don't even think it was media oversaturation. The problem was it was media oversaturation with woke garbage. That's what it was. It wasn't even that it was saturated too much, because we were waiting on bated breath. We were waiting with our knives and our forks to eat that Marvel steak every time you came out with a new series and a new movie, and you just kept letting us down over and over and over and over. All of a sudden, we were going to be getting all these series, all these movies that were just as good or great, just like what we had experienced over those years up until Endgame. And that's not what happened. There was definitely a different cook in the kitchen. Who made this? What the F is going on? You know, and I like to say up until Infinity War, to tell you the truth, because, you know, as much as I like Endgame, I only start from when Thor calls his hammers. I never watch any other part of the movie. It's always when Thor calls the hammers. I usually end it when Tony snaps. Sometimes I'll watch a little bit further, sometimes. But other than that, that's all I really watch with that.
Forever.
Sheer hubris. Hubris.
It really is hard to miss something that never fucking goes away, and it's even harder to get excited about it when it's basically the same experience every single time, only with different coloured spandex. Even a good Marvel movie at this point is like middle-aged sex in a stale marriage, less about the excitement and novelty of exploring new possibilities, and more about going through a series of familiar steps to reach the same predictable outcome. Myth number 2 is that Pedro Pascal is a serious box office draw. Like, can we all just accept at this point that this guy isn't really going to happen? And all the
Show him licking the glow stick.
Red carpet appearances in the world aren't going to change that. Like so many other people, I've been trying to figure out why Hollywood's been pushing this increasingly
told you it was coming.
50-year-old weirdo so hard, like he's this hot young talent taking the industry by storm. And by George, I think I've got it. For whatever reason, Disney have made him a cornerstone of not one but two of their biggest franchises, Star Wars and Marvel. They've pinned a lot of their hopes on this guy. They desperately need him to be a star, so they've marshaled the entire Hollywood media machine behind him to try to make him a star. The problem is, well, he isn't, and he never really has been. He's a character actor at best, solid and talented for sure, but hardly spectacular, and gassed up way beyond his league by insane overexposure. He doesn't have the charisma, the magnetism, the screen presence, or even the looks to be a top-level draw, and he's too old to grow into the role now. 50 is normally the point where most actors' careers start to decline as middle age kicks in, and the next generation of talent moves up to replace them. I don't really know why people expect his career to do the opposite, but somehow they do. Also, the meme of him being in everything feels like it's evolved from a bit of niche good-natured ribbon on social media to actual widespread irritation now, proving the point that familiarity really does breed contempt. Myth number 3 is that superhero fatigue isn't a thing. Bad movie fatigue is.
Really? I truly believe that. If anyone says that superhero fatigue is real, I don't believe them. I believe the root is deeper. The root is the woke political garbage that they've been injecting literally into everything. But superhero movies are at the forefront because they're the most popular thing. People look forward to them. They're the tent poles. They're the hot summer thing. When people think about billion-dollar movies, they are thinking of Marvel. That's what they're thinking about. And you can, I guess, rightfully say that it's superhero fatigue because they have done to superhero movies what they have done to everything else. And you could say, well, it's superhero fatigue, and it's Star Trek fatigue, and it's Star Wars fatigue, and it's television series fatigue, and you could say all that, but it really truly is bad movie fatigue, or bad entertainment fatigue, bad everything fatigue. Is woke bullish fatigue, because that is the root of it. Okay? Because they putting it in everything.
Nope, superhero fatigue is absolutely a thing, and it's about time people accepted that. Movie genres rise and fall like the sun. Nothing stays.
See, it's not like and people compare it to. It's one of those things where it's not like how the westerns just fizzled out. I've heard people compare it to westerns, how people just eventually got tired of westerns. But I don't remember ever hearing that when westerns fizzled out, it was a tumultuous time of injecting political garbage into those films, and that's why. You see what I'm saying? Like, and it's not a time where they're putting it, like when they fizzled out, they weren't putting the same thing in everything. This is that time. It's different than when the westerns fizzled out.
Popular and relevant forever, and after a quarter of a century of domination, the sun is well and truly setting on superheroes.
If they had continued to make good to great movies, and sometimes average, we know they did that, but Marvel was usually good to great. Sometimes even fantastic, but from good to great. If they had continued to do that, I don't think we would be seeing this. I am like almost 100% sure we would not be seeing what we are seeing now if they were putting out good to great and there was zero woke garbage in them. You know what I mean?
Now. And by that, I don't mean they're ever going to die out and disappear completely. Just like the comics that inspired them, there's always going to be a core audience wanting more. What I mean is that general audiences, the people who bring in the bulk of the box office revenue, have lost interest and moved on to other things now. Superheroes aren't cool or compelling anymore. Yeah, the decline in quality and the saturation of the market definitely speeded the process up, but the truth is, it was gonna happen eventually no matter what. Even James Gunn's Superman by James Gunn, the biggest and most iconic superhero of them all, is struggling to make much headway at the box office. The tentpole movie designed to kick off a whole new cinematic...
Yeah, and DC was doing the same damn thing. You know what I'm saying? They were trying to follow Marvel's blueprint. You know what I mean? The whole movie industry is doing the same thing. The same thing with anything female-led. You could have female-led movies in the past, and they didn't have the problems that they're having now. It's what they've been doing, injecting the woke garbage, girl boss, bull-ish into everything. So now they didn't trust the ballerina. They didn't trust Furiosa. That's the problem. That is what the problem is woke fatigue. That's the root of it. So you could say, well, the root of it made girl boss fatigue, superhero fatigue. Okay, I can go with you on that. But the true root is the woke fatigue. If they weren't doing that, I don't think you would be seeing a problem with girl boss movies or with superhero movies right now, or with Star Trek series, or with Star Wars movies, or Star Wars series. You wouldn't be seeing it.
Verse, arguably a day late and $1 short, is currently sitting at $550 million a month after release. At this rate, it's going to struggle to even hit $600 million. That's not just a disappointment, that's a fucking disaster. DC wheeled out the biggest gun in their arsenal for this one. See what I did there? And it barely made a dent.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I mean, what kind of numbers do you think Supergirl or Clayface or Swamp Thing are gonna do if even fucking Superman can't draw big crowds? The harsh reality is that the cultural zeitgeist has shifted now, the audience has matured and changed, and they've left superheroes behind. All those outlandish outfits and crazy powers that were so cool and revolutionary 10 years ago seem kind of lame and dated now. A cultural holdover from a previous generation, lingering beyond its time, struggling for relevance in a world that's moved on without it. So where do we go from here? What does the future hold for superhero flicks? Well, like I said earlier, there is still a way for superhero movies to carry on and turn a profit for the studios, but it has to be based on the understanding that the market is smaller and tougher now. If 500 million is the best you can hope for at the box office, then you need to start slashing your budgets big time. 100 million is where most superhero movies want to be sitting now, which means leaner and meaner productions, cutting down on expensive VFX and big name actors, and focusing more on quality writing. It really comes down to a choice between managed decline or complete implosion.
See, because if they do that, the bad part about it is if they drop the budgets, they're going to continue to inject it with the same garbage, and then they'll turn a profit and keep making the same bad crap over and over and over again. That's what's going to happen.
It all sounds pretty obvious, because it is, but sometimes things that seem obvious to normal people like us seem to sail right over the heads of Hollywood executives. I don't know if they can or will change, but one thing's for sure, superhero movies as we've known them for the past 20 years are over. Whether this means the start of a new era or a complete collapse of the whole genre, only time will tell. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Good job, Drinker. As usual, get over and follow the Critical Drinker. Tell him Tyrone Magnus sent you. And if you enjoyed my thoughts on this, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and share. 10 million subscribers. Woo!